This movie is about a teenager and his dad who work together to trick folks in their town by using mind control. Not many people have this power until they catch the attention of some powerful individuals. The movie is called Awareness and was made in 2023. It begins with a teenager named Ian and his dad, Vicent, going to a store to swipe some bottles of liquor. They don't use weapons, but instead, Ian uses his magical ability to control people's minds through sight and thought. Ian tricks the store owner so he doesn't notice the bottles of alcohol being taken by his father. However, when Vicent is about to drive away, a young woman disturbs Ian's mind, making the store owner realize the theft. The store owner stops Vicent's car with a hammer, so Ian uses his ability to create an illusion of holding a gun. But in a moment of panic, he accidentally shoots the store owner, and as she falls, Ian briefly experiences her memories. When they hear police sirens, Vicent quickly drives away with Ian in their truck. A police officer arrives to rescue the store owner. However, it turns out the owner is unharmed, and there are no injuries on his stomach. The police then immediately chase Ian and his father. Using his powers, Ian manipulates the police cars by redirecting their path, much to Vicent's disapproval. The illusion eventually shatters, leading to a renewed pursuit by the authorities. Disagreeing with his father's caution, Ian argues for the potential wealth their abilities could bring. Vicent warns about attracting unwanted attention but remains cryptic when Ian questions who. As they reach the beach, Ian conjures a massive illusion of a hailstorm, tricking the pursuing officer into a chaotic accident at a gas station. Despite this, their actions are captured on security cameras and come to the attention of the enigmatic Dr. Adriana. However, the CCTV footage shows the police car is fine with no damage at all. Meanwhile, Vicent and Ian choose to live alone on an old abandoned ship, far from settlements, due to Ian's extraordinary powers since birth. If Vicent were to place Ian in the city, people would surely know about his abilities. Ian wakes from a disturbing dream about his late mother, and tensions rise as he clashes with his father over his desire for a normal birthday celebration. Vicent also gives Ian a gift that appears to be a book, but Ian ignores the present and prefers to practice Wing Chun. Aside from Wing Chun, Ian is also a fan of the characters in the game, as seen from the character posters on his room's wall. Meanwhile, on the other side, Mr. Police is seen hanging out at a cafe while recounting the strange incident to the people as he was chasing. At that moment, a mysterious man, let's call him the Perceiver, suddenly used his powers to kill the police. After that, he left without paying. In short, later that evening, people from the agency and also Dr. Adriana suddenly arrived at the ship to ambush Ian. But when they entered, they only found Vicent, who was drinking his alcoholic beverage. They then managed to find Ian, who was actually at the arcade game. Without hesitation, Adrian sent his men there. Upon arrival, Adriana's henchmen were suddenly attacked by the Perceiver, who had powers similar to Ian. Amidst the chaos, the agency managed to cover the Perceiver's head with an iron helmet, while Ian was taken away by the agency, one of whom was a woman named Esther. Ian was then put into a truck where Vicent was already present. Ian's head was then covered with an iron helmet that functioned to ward off his illusions, and his blood sample was taken for examination. While on the way to the agency's company, the Perceiver reappeared and attempted to block the road using his illusion. However, the agency's truck driver ignored him and successfully passed through the road. Once they arrived at the company, Adriana began to reveal that she had been part of the Percept creation operation, where perception itself is a group of people who possess the power to manipulate illusions like Ian. Ian, being a part of it, was considered special because his powers were naturally born, a result of the union of the perception creators. Adriana also disclosed that Ian's parents were injected with a formula developed by a scientist named Dr. Kaminsky. However, Dr. Kaminsky did not share the composition of the formula with anyone, not even within the agency. Hence, the agency abducted Ian to extract the formula from his blood. Dr. Adriana then provoked Ian's abilities by making him angry, stating that Ian had no friends, never went to school, and even lost his mother at a young age. Upon hearing this, Ian demonstrated his ability by manipulating Adriana, who was at the beach. After that, Ian was taken to meet Vicent, where Adriana added that Ian's abilities were not only limited to creating illusions but also to entering the minds of others. Curious about his mother, Ian attempted this ability by entering Vicent's mind. Inside Vicent's mind, Ian discovered that Vicent was, in fact, one of the agency operatives who had abducted him from the research laboratory and kept him hidden from the public for 17 years. Despite being raised by Vicent, Ian felt betrayed because Vicent had lied to him for those 17 years. Adriana then met with her superior, El Americano, and they checked Ian's blood sample, finding no trace of the formula even though Ian was born from it. The agency urgently needed the formula as it could be used to stop a group of evil individuals with powers similar to Ian's, referred to as the Awareness. These individuals could control global politics and use their abilities to help politicians create illusions to deceive the public. Meanwhile, Esther surprisingly infiltrated Ian's room and persuaded him to escape. Together, they united to defeat the agency guards. Esther's formidable fighting skills proved undeniable as she swiftly defeated the guards. Not only that, they also managed to take Vicent with them before heading to their destination. Additionally, a scientist infiltrated the agency and began killing all the guards to help Ian escape. The scientist turned out to be the Perceiver. During their escape, Ian encountered difficulty driving due to a punctured rear tire from a spike strip. Instead of stopping, Ian continued driving until the car rolled off the road. Shortly after, the Perceiver appeared, but Ian successfully manipulated him by making their presence disappear. Ian, Esther, and Vicent then went to a motel to rest. In a brief turn of events, while Vicent was asleep due to intoxication, Ian took the opportunity to revisit his memories. In Vicent's memories, Ian saw Vicent conversing with Adriana, overhearing them talk about someone referred to as the Big Boss. He also saw a man dressed in black with 3 fingers cut off sitting in a car. However, these memories did not answer all of his questions. Nevertheless, Ian obtained a clue that led him to consider traveling to Warsaw, Poland, to find out more about his mother's whereabouts due to a lack of sufficient funds for their journey to Warsaw. Ian and Esther resorted to robbing a bank using fake identities and the assistance of their illusions. However, just as Ian took the money and fled, the bank officials immediately realized the situation and promptly sounded the alarm, leading to Ian and Esther being chased by security guards. Their robbery went viral, drawing the attention of both the agency and the Perceiver. Esther was very proud of what they had done. After that, she went to take a shower because she was sweating after running to avoid being chased by bank security. Before long, the Perceiver appeared in Ian's room. Ian attempted to make his room appear empty using his illusions, but the Perceiver eventually found Ian through the mirror's reflection. Despite his illusions, Ian was overwhelmed by the Perceiver's skillful combat techniques as he had not yet mastered the Wing Chun technique. The Perceiver then delved into Ian's mind, discovering his plans to go to Warsaw, who lay weakened due to the strain on his mind. Upon regaining consciousness, Ian was scolded by his father for robbing the bank. Witnessing Ian's arrogance, Vicent presented him with 2 choices: to seek the truth and potentially face regret, or to start a new life from scratch with him. Already consumed by anger, Ian rejected Vicent's offer and decided to find out more about his mother. Ian and Esther then headed to Warsaw. Meanwhile, Adriana successfully tracked Ian by tracing the history of the train tickets they used. Ian and Esther arrived in Warsaw, precisely at a laboratory where Ian was born. There, Ian discovered a hidden room containing files about his mother, Ursula Kamiński, meaning that Ian was the grandson of Dr. Kamiński. Shortly thereafter, the Perceiver suddenly appeared, trying to convince Ian that he was on his side. However, not believing him, Ian manipulated the Perceiver with his manipulation powers. Unfortunately, the Perceiver proved to be more adept than Ian and managed to identify the real Ian. The Perceiver then informed Ian that he and Ursula had been in a romantic relationship and volunteered to be part of a secret program that began in the 1950s after World War II. Bodies that allowed them to create illusions and read others' minds. It made them perfect government agency spies to control enemies during the Cold War. However, when the Cold War ended, the government initiated a program known as the Purge, in which anyone with the ability to manipulate illusions was targeted for elimination. The government feared that they would turn against the world. Yet, during the Purge, the authorities couldn't kill one person with abilities beyond reason. That person was El Mule. El Mule is believed to not only master illusion manipulation and memory reading, but also to possess abilities at the 3rd level, enabling him to control enemies physically without even touching them. Up until now, no one has been able to challenge El Mule, which is why the agency intends to use Ian to defeat him, given the purity of Ian's powers from birth. The Perceiver added that individuals who have been injected with the formula usually cannot have offspring, making it a miracle that Ursula was able to escape with Ian, presumably the Perceiver's child. Despite the Perceiver's extensive explanation, Ian remains incredulous. Consequently, the Perceiver requests Ian to visit his home in Madrid, where Ian can find all the answers related to his mother. Just then, agency operatives appear and ambush them. Esther immediately takes Ian away, while the Perceiver fights the agency forces, manipulating them with his illusion powers, making it easy for him to kill them. However, at one point, they catch him off guard and manage to capture him. Meanwhile, Esther defeats several agency members attempting to capture Ian. After overcoming the agency, they both successfully escape from the location. The perceiver is then detained at the agency's headquarters, his head covered with an iron helmet and subjected to electric shocks. After some time, the perceiver pretends to be thirsty and asks for water. Taking pity, one of the operators uses a robot to bring him water. However, beforehand, the perceiver creates a small hole in his helmet, allowing him to drink the water. Yet, after drinking, the perceiver uses this small hole to manipulate the operator to shoot all his colleagues with the robot. It is then revealed that the perceiver is indeed El Mule, as he can control the physical actions of others. He manages to escape from the detention room and flee to Madrid. Meanwhile, Ian and Esther arrived at El Mule's house in Madrid. There, Ian finally met his mother, who is now in a very fragile condition. Just then, El Mule appeared and instructed Ian to enter his mother's mind. Ian delved into his mother's memories and witnessed moments of her with him as a baby. However, suddenly, El Mule emerged in their memories, causing Ursula to react negatively and prevent Ian from going deeper. It turned out that Ursula had destroyed Kaminsky's formula, and in an attempt to retrieve it, the agency tried to access Ursula's mind, leaving her in a vegetative state as she is now, in order to spare Ian from the same fate. Ursula implanted beautiful memories of playing with her son in this white room, which also held the encrypted formula. El Mule insisted that Ian remember the formula and promised to seek revenge on the agency once they obtained it. Just then, Adriana and her agency forces stormed El Mule's house, assuming that the agency was responsible for his mother's suffering. Ian became enraged and, without realizing it, unleashed his third-level powers, overpowering many agency soldiers. After subduing several soldiers, he intentionally controlled Adriana and her team to commit suicide. However, at the same time, Vicent arrived and told Ian to stop his actions. While still unsure, Ian was torn between continuing to harm others or not. El Mule somehow used his advanced powers to make Vicent take his own life, prompting Ian to release Adriana and decide to approach Vicent. Even though not his biological father, Ian still valued Vicent for raising him. Vicent, on the verge of death, asked Ian to explore his memories, revealing that Ursula herself instructed Vicent to take Ian to a safer place, ensuring that Ian could have a better future. After Vicent's passing, El Mule fled, taking Esther as a hostage. Ian promptly pursued them, leading to a clash at a public event attended by many people. Ian made the people there fall asleep so that he could confront El Mule. However, El Mule used his powers to make the people turn against Ian instead. One of them started choking Ian and nearly ended his life. Thankfully, Adriana arrived just in time and saved him by shooting the person. She didn't stop there. El Mule threatened to harm Esther unless Ian provided information about the formula. Adriana then tried to make Ian understand that Esther was simply a character in a game created by his own illusions. To demonstrate her point, Ian fired a shot toward Esther, but the bullet went through her, hitting El Mule and causing his demise. The following day, they held a funeral for Vicent. Ian now understood that it was El Mule, not the agency, who had caused his mother's fragile condition. Adriana once again offered Ian the opportunity to join the agency, but he declined, choosing to live as an ordinary citizen as taught by Vicent. Ian still held affection for Esther despite her being a virtual creation. They then unwrapped the gift that Vicent had given Ian on his 18th birthday. Shortly after, Ian saw Adriana in conversation with El Americano, but when he checked with the spyglass, he didn't see the man, only Adriana. The film concluded with Ian attempting to influence Adriana's thoughts to uncover who she was talking to. However, the movie finishes at this point. We hope you enjoyed the storyline presented. Thank you for watching.